Welcome to our podcast. My name is Daniela Sanchez Mellado, and today I am accompanied by Claudia Zúñiga and Marco Salazar to discuss the following questions. How can a curriculum based on student-centered learning outcomes can encourage critical thinking and autonomy in language learners? What strategies would you use to implement such a model? Together, we are going to share our understanding of this topic and analyze the existing literature about it. Firstly, I would like you to tell me what you think about this approach and its implications in education. Claudia, can you start?
Of course, from my perspective and taking into account my experience as a teacher, I definitely support the idea of a student-centered curriculum, especially because it focuses on students' learning needs. This model of teaching fosters a more active, personalized, and reflective approach to learning, which can significantly encourage critical thinking and autonomy in learners.
How about you, Marcos? What is your opinion?
I also agree with Claudia, as we know that the students easily engage in those activities where they have to act actively rather than passively receiving just information. In the context of language learning, this means that students engage in tasks that require them to assess language use, recognize different perspectives, and make judgments about different contexts.
Well, I also agree with you both on this. I think it's time to leave conventional teaching approaches behind and start implementing strategies that can boost our students' skills. Teachers should facilitate learning, not just provide knowledge. Now, let's analyze this from some authors' points of view. Would you like to start, Claudia?
Sure. Something that caught my attention from the book Autonomy and Foreign Language Learning by Holek, 1981, is how he argues that autonomous language learners take responsibility for their process, and they do it by determining their objectives and context to be learned, and they have specific objectives they want to achieve. Of course, this allows them to think deeply about their learning process.
Marcos, do you have something to complement what Claudia has said?
Well, Zimmerman in 2002, in his book Becoming a Self-Regulated Learner, mentions that learning in the 19th century was too structured and educational failures were attributed to students' limitations. However, in the 20th century, educators like John Dewey and Maria Montessori adapted the curriculum to the needs of the students with a more holistic vision to ensure that everyone could learn and become part of their learning process.
Well, among other studies, Lantle and Soar in 2006 in the book Social Cultural Theory and the Genesis of Second Language Development emphasize the connection between learning and social interaction. They state that the environment is not seen as a resource, but as a source of development, where communicative activities play a central role in the student development. They suggest that scaffolding is a beneficial strategy to the self-directed learning of students. Of course, to implement these approaches, we need to develop certain strategies. Marcos, can you tell us some of the strategies that you have implemented in the classroom to achieve these objectives?
Okay, in my case, I have applied task-based learning as described in Hammer 2003 and 2016. This method emphasizes real-world language use through engaging tasks that require learners to apply their language skill in practical situations. Tasks such as role plays, project-based learning, or problem-solving activities promote critical thinking and allow the students to take an active role in their learning process.
How about you, Claudia?
Well, in my case, I love collaborative learning. Organizing students into groups for team tasks can foster both critical thinking and autonomy. According to Rod Ellis, 2003, in his book Task-Based Language Learning and Teaching, collaborative projects, dialogues, problem solving, and decision making enhance students' language skills and critical thinking abilities.
Well, I must add that metacognition is also crucial. According to Rahimi and Katal, 2012, encouraging students to reflect on their learning process through activities like journaling, self-assessment, or goal settings help them develop metacognitive skills, which are essential for regulating their learning. Summing up, I would like Claudia to share some final reflections. Claudia, please.
Okay, we can only conclude that a shift from a teacher-centered to a student-centered approach provides many benefits for the student's development. It is an approach that, if well implemented, encourages learning to participate in the building of their own learning, making the process even more meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you all for participating today.